I want to make sure I got two cameras on me. This is the reason why you're here, because this happens to every contractor out there. It happened to me numerous times till I finally sat down and said, I'm tired of getting beat up, okay? And I'm tired of paying attorneys to tell me crap that costs me a bunch of money and doesn't get me anywhere. So the first thing that happened was you could use walnut or ash. You couldn't tell. So you've got to make a determination if there's a big price difference one way or the other.
Because how did you estimate it?
Because how did you estimate it,
We
right?
estimated.
Okay. Now, what
we determined at the time we found that it was unclear after award.
Okay, wait a minute.
We turned around and said, okay, estimator, what did you estimate? Estimated this. I asked, worst case scenario, what are we looking at if they were to find on the, if we had to go to this other page where it basically contradicts or whatever. And is a 2.7, or at that point it was a $2.8 million contract. He said, worst case scenario, $40,000. I said, get it cleared from the, I said, if that's the worst thing I've got to deal with on this contract, carry on.
Okay. Well, now let's stop there and say, what would Doug have done?
Okay.
I would have said, I want the $40,000 advantage and I want to put it in my pocket. Okay? Now, if that's what I want, what's the definition of communication? Go ahead, it's right at the front of your book.
The response that it gets.
The response that it gets. What's the response that I want? I want this to end up with $40,000 more in my pocket. Because I'm coming in after the fact, realizing when there's an ambiguity, it wasn't really caught at the time of bid, right?
Right.
Okay, so it might even be a latent ambiguity. If you did, okay, it was a latent, so it wasn't obvious on its face. You actually had to be looking at one thing, and then all of a sudden this pops up over here. I got a latent ambiguity. Okay, in the case of a latent ambiguity, there's no duty to inquire. In other words, I didn't catch it. Any reasonable contractor would not have figured that out.
There is no duty
to inquire.
To inquire. Okay.
In other words, it's latent. It was hidden. Latent means hidden.
And the proof of that is, if another contractor had inquired and the contracting officer received it, it was the contracting officer's responsibility to notify all bidders.
To level the playing field.
The proof is it's a latent ambiguity.
That's right. If it's patent ambiguity, you run the risk. How do I reduce my risk? I don't call the contracting officer. I call the guy that had the money, or the architect that was working on it, that has his notes, or who he was talking to. Now, here's why I never ask the government a question. And what the biggest problem you have as a contractor is when this comes up, you ask the government, they don't know the answer, but they won't admit it. Okay? They don't know the answer, but they won't admit it. So all of a sudden, they have a huge problem. Because you've asked a question, and they don't know the answer, and so it's stall, don't approve, don't do anything. How can we blame this on the contractor? Wow, this is a patent ambiguity. They're coming up with whatever excuse they can to make this not their problem. They're running and hiding.
Here's the RFI never got answered. To date, project's done. We've walked off.
Right.
All right, we're complete. To date, the RFI has not been answered. Therefore, they're not answering it. Submit. Okay, this is our interpretation. Here's our submittal. Denied. Why? And I can't recall if the why.
I guess you could.
They did not tell us why. Or I think the only reason they think it says it was denied.
I guess.
He said, why are you denying it? Just do it for the specs. Well, here's another interpretation.
Okay.
Denied.
But see, you put yourself in that loop.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
All contractors do that.
What I'm looking for now, from the government contract experts, from the experts, is, in hindsight,
okay,
what would you have done in that case?
Let's play out the hypotheticals. Okay. You said
give me the worst case condition. Put me, the expert, in the worst place that I could possibly be.
Rejected.
Okay?
It's rejected.
Without explanation. No, we're moving forward.
Right.
Your options are.
Okay.
Sometimes I give the government options. Here's your options. Okay?
That's the answer I was looking for.
Okay.
The next step should have been,
You've been here for 3 full days, essentially. What would you say your biggest takeaway was?
through you, through Sean, We've got a great resource here to help us become more profitable contractors in the government arena, period.
Okay.
I think through the years in government contracting, everybody's convinced that you win some, you lose some. I think through this class, we can figure out how to win some and win some, and really reduce the opportunities for losses.
Okay. How about you?
I think that for both of our companies, it's pushing the contracts through. Forced action, even though the government can be an 800-pound gorilla, there's a contracting officer, and we're all on the same level playing field, and we got rules to go by, and basically by sheer will and some of the wording and techniques that you've given us, we can push these things through way better than we have in the past.